Alright, so when I say passive income, I always air quote it because there is really no such thing as passive income. There is no way to make money without doing anything at all. But when I say passive income, what I mean is that it's money that is not directly tied to our time. So let's say you were to write a book. If you write a book, you publish a book. That book is now in bookshelves. You've done the work kind of once to write and publish the book. But now, anytime the book sells, you make money from royalties. That is passive income. You could literally be making money while you sleep because you've created this thing which is out in the world, which is generating income for you. The other thing with passive income is that it always takes a very long time to get going. So if you see any ads before this video talking about how you can get rich quick by whatever scheme, or if you see people in the comments pretending to be me saying, "Oh my God, here's how you can get rich quick with crypto. WhatsApp this number?" That is all a scam. It's not going to work. There is no way to get rich quick. It is not a thing. So if you're looking for a get-rich-quick scheme, those things just don't exist. So you might as well not even try. And the way I think of this is that, ultimately, money is just a medium for exchanging value. The only way to make money is to provide value. And the only way to make passive income, passive money, is to provide value in a way that is not directly tied to your time. So please, please, please do not try and join a get-rich-quick scheme. They don't exist. I've had lots of messages over the years from people who have tried signing up to a get-rich-quick crypto scheme or a gambling scheme or a, "Hey, here is how you play poker online." None of these things ever work. People always end up losing money. The only way to make money is by providing value. And so, let's talk about the 9 different ways that you could provide value if you wanted to. Just before we dive in. Alright, so let's kick things off with investing in stocks and shares. And in this context, the way that we provide value is by offering up our money. Providing money investing in stocks and shares, investing in a service is, in a way, giving a form of value. So when we give our money to a company in the form of buying their stocks, it makes sense that we would get some kind of return for that investment. And we're starting with this because investing in stocks is the easiest way to make any kind of passive income. If you have any sorts of savings and they're sitting in a savings account, earning 0.01% interest, they're not really doing very much for you. Whereas if you had those stay of savings and put them in stocks, you could potentially be earning passive income from the money that's otherwise just sitting there. Now an index fund is something like the S&P 500. And when you invest, let's say $1,000 in the S&P 500, that basically means that your $1,000 is distributed amongst the top 500 biggest companies in the US. So, weighted by how big they are. So like 2% of it would be in Apple, 2% in Facebook, 2% in Google, 2% in Microsoft. And then you probably wouldn't have heard of the 500th company on the list. But basically, all the big US companies you've heard of, you end up investing in all of them a little bit at a time. So if you want to get started with that, all you need to do is sign up to a stockbroker. If you're in the US, you can use Webull. If you're in the UK, you can use Freetrade or Vanguard. Basically, whatever country you're in, just Google the phrase "best stockbroker platform," your country name, and you'll find something that works for you. And then it's very easy to be able to invest in an index fund. How hard is it to make $100 a month by investing in stocks and shares? Well, this kind of depends because it depends on the performance of the stock market overall. So in the last 12 months from 2020 to 2021, the S&P 500 is actually increased by about 50%. That is a lot. It's like gone up by a solid 50% despite COVID and everything going on. So if in April 2023 you had invested $2,400 in the S&P 500, the fact that it's gone up by 50% means you would have made $100 a month, but obviously this is not the way to look at it because things can go up and down and the stock market has different levels of performance depending on what time period you're looking at. But if we average out the last 30 to 50 years, the S&P 500 has had a roughly 10-point-something% return, which means every year, on average, over the long term, it goes up by around 10%. This is not inflation adjusted for any economist among us. And so, if we do some back-of-the-envelope calculations, if we want to earn $100 a month passively through stocks and shares, we would need around about $12,000 invested in the S&P 500 to make that 10% $1,200 a year, which is $100 a month. But as I talk about in that video about stocks, over time we have compounding. And so if you put in $7,500 in the S&P 500 and you left it there for 5 years, then 5 years later you would be making roughly $100 a month if we go by this very average figure of 10% a year. Or if you invested $5,000 in the S&P 500, then 10 years later you'd be making $100 a month in purely passive income, again assuming the 10% average. So overall, how hard is it really to make $100 a month in passive income from stocks and shares? Well, it kind of just depends on how hard is it for you to make $5,000, $7,500, or $12,000 in savings and put them into a stock market index fund. And crucially, this is money that you shouldn't need to touch in the next 5 to 10 years at least. So basically, how easy is it for you to make that sort of money obviously varies massively depending on which country you're in and what your circumstances are and what your job is. But if you're in the UK or the US, where the median kind of average salaries are around about $50,000, something like that, then again, depending on your circumstances, it's not that hot to get $10,000 in savings. Obviously, if you're supporting a family of 15 people on $50,000, it's different. If you're a single person, again, it's different. But I'm going to give this roughly a 3-5 star rating for difficulty of getting $100 a month. Obviously, if you live in a country like India, where the average salary is $3,600 a year, it's very, very difficult to make $10,000 in savings overall. And finally, the third category in our side hustle assessment matrix is how hard is it to maintain this income once you've set it up in the first place. And we're going to give this a 1-5 because once you've got the money in, you just set it and forget it. And it's not that hard to maintain. There are other sources of passive income that require higher degrees of maintenance over time, but stocks and shares is a very, very easy way to make passive income. And to use my personal example these days, my stocks and shares portfolio, which I've been investing in since 2015, is now worth around about $350,000. And the vast majority of that is in the S&P 500 index fund. Now, I can't be bothered to work out the actual inflation-adjusted returns for that. But again, if we assume a very, very rough above 10% a year, then that averages out to around $682 per week in purely passive income. All right, starting a YouTube channel idea number 2 for generating passive income is to start a YouTube channel at YouTube channel. Well, I'm going to give this one a number 1 out of 5 stars because it's actually very, very easy to start at YouTube channel. You just go on youtube.com, you click create a channel, and you can upload videos by just filming with your phone and uploading it. In reality, it's a lot harder to make good videos, and making good videos is how you grow on YouTube. But getting started on YouTube is very, very, very straightforward. The real question is how hard is it to actually make real money from YouTube? So again, let's say we want to make $100 a month in passive income. What does that look like? Well, firstly, to be eligible for monetization on YouTube, you need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time. If we look at the averages, it actually takes on average 90-something videos to get to 1,000 subscribers. So that's quite hard. If you're thinking you're gonna start a YouTube channel and start making money from day one, that's basically not gonna happen. So if people message me like, hey, I want to start a YouTube channel, I was like, you have to be able to put in the effort and do this for a very long period of time, at least once a week. I say for at least 2 years before you can expect anything in return. But let's say you've hit your 1,000 subscribers and your 4,000 hours of watch time. How hard is it to actually make $100 a month? Well, on average, the kind of revenue per 1,000 views on YouTube is around about $2. So this varies massively, but let's say on average about 2 per 1,000 views. Therefore, if you want to make $100 a month, you need 50,000 views on YouTube to make $100 a month. Let's say you make 1 video per week, and let's assume you're not getting any traffic on your older videos. That means every video you make needs to get around about 500 views. And very roughly, the average YouTube channel can expect around about 20% of their subscribers to equal the average view count for each video. So on YouTube, if you had 62,000 subscribers, very roughly, very averagely, you can expect 20% of them, i.e. 500 views on each video. And assuming you have no evergreen content of the long term, you would need to run about 60,000 subscribers to be making $100 a month. In reality, you make $100 a month a lot before 60,000 subscribers. I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5 stars. It's actually very hard to make compelling YouTube videos, and it's very to get started, but it's hard to do well. It's totally worth it. It's a great skill set. It's really fun. You get to meet people across the internet. You get to learn how to talk to a camera and how to film and video edit. And it's really great, but it's very hard to actually make money from YouTube. Finally, in terms of effort to maintain, like actually getting that first 1,000 subscribers is a lot harder than keeping it growing. 'Cause once you've got 1,000 subscribers, and once your channel is growing, it means you've landed on a formula that works. And so maintaining it then becomes easier than starting from scratch. And so in our side hustle assessment matrix, we're going to give maintenance of a YouTube channel passive income stream to be around about 2 out of 5 stars. To use my example, I made 70 videos before I started making any money from YouTube AdSense, and these days the YouTube channel makes around about $12,000 a month in passive income from YouTube AdSense. Now again, this is not entirely passive because I keep on uploading new videos, but actually the bulk of the amount of money that we generate from ads is from older videos rather than videos that were uploaded this month. There are other ways of monetizing YouTube, like brand deals and like selling merch and this all other sort of stuff. But it doesn't really count as passive income through YouTube, which is why I'm not including this in this side hustle assessment matrix. Idea number 3 for making passive income is to start a podcast. This is generally easier than starting a YouTube channel, although growing a podcast is a lot harder than growing a YouTube channel because podcasts themselves don't really have an algorithm that's helping them grow. In fact, a lot of podcasts grow by having a YouTube channel, which is kind of weird. So how hard is it to start a podcast? Well, again, 1 out of 5 stars. It's very, very easy to start a podcast. Go on Anchor.fm, and you can literally use your phone, and you can pass your phone around between you and your friends, and you can start a podcast. You can use a website called Riverside.fm that I've recently invested in as an angel investor. Riverside makes it very easy to record remote podcast interviews. It's very, very easy to start a podcast, but how hard is it to make $100 a month in passive income from a podcast? Well, again, this is not quite passive income because the way podcasters make money is by relying on brand deals. There is no YouTube AdSense for podcasts, and so you need a sponsorship or a brand deal to make any money through your podcast, generally speaking. And apparently, you can expect to make around 18s for a 30-second ad in a podcast and $25 per 1,000 views or 1,000 listens for a 60-second ad. So if you want to make $100 a month, and assuming you have a stream of sponsorships who are giving you that level of sponsorship deal based on your download numbers, you would need around 1,000 downloads per episode if you have a weekly podcast. So you would have 4,000 downloads a month. And if you're putting a 60-second ad in there for $25 per 1,000 views, that would make you around about $100 a month by having 1,000 downloads per episode and 4 episodes per month. This begs the question, how hard is it to get 1,000 downloads per month? Well, it's a lot harder to get 1,000 podcast downloads per month than it is to get 1,000 YouTube views per month. Because again, YouTube has so much distribution built in, it's different to podcast. Also, loads of more people are on YouTube than on podcasts. But if we look at the stats, then it's the top 20% of podcasts in the world that get, on average, more than 1,000 downloads per episode. To use a friend of mine as an example, my housemate Angela started her own podcast around 5 months ago, and on average, her podcast gets around about 400 to 500 downloads per episode. This is not bad at all, especially considering she started 5 months ago and had 0 audience when she started. So she didn't have the unfair advantage that I did when starting my own podcast, for example, and because she's just launched season 2 of her podcast and has just started posting videos about it on YouTube, that will really help the podcast grow, and I'm pretty sure that in the next 6 months, she'll be getting to a point where she can quite easily make $100 a month from her podcast. So, going back to our side hustle assessment matrix, starting a podcast, 1 out of 5 stars. Making $100 a month, I'm going to give that a 3 out of 5 stars because it's hard, but not as hard as maybe monetizing on YouTube where you have this minimum threshold. And finally, maintenance. Well, it's not really passive income because you do have to keep on making podcast episodes because the brand deals are associated with that. But again, once you've stumbled on a formula that works, once you know how to be a podcaster, it's easier to continue going once you've already gotten started, as is the case with most things. And so, in terms of maintenance of the podcast, I'm going to give that 2 stars. Alright, so idea number 4 for generating passive income is to become an affiliate marketer. becoming an affiliate marketer for other people's products, but you're getting a percentage of the sales from those products. Now, apparently, 48% of affiliate marketers globally earn $20,000 a year, which is $1,660 a month, which is actually not bad at all. People are doing very well with affiliate marketing overall. So how hard is it to get started with affiliate marketing? Well, I'm gonna give this a 2 out of 5 stars. Basically, you can just sign up to an affiliate program like Amazon Associates. So Amazon have their own affiliate program, which I think is probably the biggest in the world. And then, once you have your little special links, you can post those on your website or on Twitter or X on social media or whatever. And if people buy the product through your link, or in fact buy any product on Amazon through your link, you'll get like some tiny percentage of the sales. So pretty easy to get started with affiliate marketing. But how hard is it to make $100 a month? Oh, this is actually kind of hard. So let's say you had a product that was $50 that you were trying to sell, and you were getting 5% commission on it. That would be pretty good. Amazon doesn't offer nearly as much as 5%. It offers like 2 or 3%, something like that. And let's say your average conversion rate, i.e. people visiting the thing versus people actually buying the product after visiting the thing, let's say that's 1%, which is pretty reasonable for a conversion rate. You would need 8,000 visits to your website or whatever to make $100 a month. It's actually quite hard to get 8,000 visits per month to your website, to your specific product page, and generally, doing well in affiliate marketing requires lots of upfront effort in terms of either building an audience or building such domain authority in whatever space you're in that you're sort of organically getting traffic. If you just follow those steps, I guarantee you'll have an audience and you'll be able to make some kind of money through this passive income stuff, but that's quite hard to do. No one sticks to it for at least 2 years. So we'll give that a 3.5-star rating. But the good news is, once you've created it, and once you've started making money from affiliates, it's actually quite easy to maintain because especially if you have evergreen content, the sort that isn't relying on current affairs or the latest news, the sort that people might search for over a long period of time, this becomes like relatively reasonable passive income. Alright, method number 5 of making passive income is by selling digital products. Now these are products that you create once, like an ebook or a download or an app or something like that. You create it once and then you can sell it multiple times, because selling digital products doesn't usually have any cost associated with it. One really good example is this guy called Traff, who I follow on Twitter, who made an iOS 14 icon set and sold it for like $30 a pop a few months ago, and ended up making I think like $300,000 in the course of like a few weeks, just because loads of people around the world wanted to buy his icon pack. So he put the work into creating the pack, and now he's selling it for lots of money. Another example is my YouTuber friend Olier, who has made, as he says, $700,000 from selling his website Tumblr themes since 2014. So he made the website themes for Tumblr. He sells them and he makes $700,000 on average. Well, overall, since 2014, that's pretty cool. So how hard is it to get started making digital products? I mean, anyone can write an ebook. An ebook counts as a digital product. So I'm gonna give this a 2-star rating, 2 out of 5 stars. But obviously, again, money is an exchange of value. So the thing that you're selling, you have to be providing enough value to compensate, to make up for the price that you're selling it for. And that's often quite hard, especially if you don't have an experience in this sort of field. And how hard is it to make $100 a month? Well, it's very easy to create an ebook, but it's a whole different ball game trying to get people to actually buy your ebook or buy your icon or buy your app or buy your website themes. And because the market around this stuff is so competitive, you have to be genuinely really good to get people to buy your stuff. And the way you get people to pay you money for something is that you identify a problem that they have. You solve that problem, and then you charge money for it. And if you can do those 3 things, then I wouldn't say it's easy to make $100 a month, but it's very doable to make $100 a month. You just genuinely have to have something that solves a pain point that other people are willing to pay for. So we're gonna give this a 3 out of 5 stars to make $100 a month from selling digital products. And finally, in terms of maintenance, we're gonna give this a 2 out of 5 stars, because usually you do have to maintain your product a little bit, but it's often easier to do. It's much easier to maintain a product than creating a product in the first place. Idea number 6 for passive income generation is to create an online course. Now, selling a online course is sort of like a digital product, But generally, online courses are in video format. In fact, this whole video is so long it could basically have been an entire online course. Maybe I'll do one about this very topic. And in terms of getting started, we're going to give the starting difficulty a 2 out of 5 stars, because it's not that hard make an online course, but generally, you do need to know how to do video. So, you actually could film an online course on your iPhone or phone, whatever phone you're using if you're one of those Android. Stick your phone on the side or talk to the phone, teach something. So it's not hard creating one, but in terms of making $100 a month, again, at that point, your course needs to actually be good. And the only reason people will pay for it is if the course is actually good. Automating a business income that generates from it is reasonably passive. This is the stuff that Jerry talks a lot about in the 4-Hour Workweek, where there are a lot of businesses that you could make, where you're selling a good or selling a service, and then you can delegate, outsource, automate, and intelligent ways to make the income passive. So again, using my friend Jerry as an example, on his YouTube channel, he talks about his 1 million Shopify store. He designs, manufactures, and sells these really cool vegan leather, kind of desk accessories and bags and mouse pads and that kind of stuff. And this was loads of work in setting up. But now, he's got a team of 3 other people that manage the business. And so he spends proportionally less of his time running that business. And so it's sort of passive income for him, even though these days he still does spend around 10 hours a week maintaining things. Equally, if you're going down the service routes, I've got a friend who runs Instagram and Facebook ads marketing agency where he has clients who pay him, I think, a few $100s per month to manage their Facebook and Instagram ads. And for him, it's like a small amount of work initially to set up the Facebook and Instagram ads, but then it's sort of automated and he has got a team around it and he's using things like Zapier to automate aspects of that business so that each month he has to do a very small amount of actual work to keep it ticking along. So these are different ways of generating passive income from a kind of goods or service-based business. But it's quite hard to get started with this stuff. To get started, we're going to give this a 4 out of 5 star rating because again, you need to create a business, and it's quite hard to make a business that genuinely provides value. Equally, we're going to give it a 4 out of 5 star rating for making $100 a month in revenue because, again, you have to be able to provide value, and providing value is hard. It's not as easy as making an account on a stocks platform, just putting some money in. You actually have to give value to people, which is kind of hard. But the nice thing is, once you get started, like with anything, maintenance is a little bit easier. So we're going to give that a 3 out of 5 star rating. Finally, idea number 9 for generating passive income is to build an app or a website or some kind of software product that you can offer either as a one-off or building an app or website more likely these days as a subscription service. And there's a whole category of this called SAS, software as a service. Now, if you look at the website indiehackers.com, there are literally hundreds of examples of people who have built software businesses that are making passive income, and they share their revenue numbers, and they tell you how they got started, and they give you their tips. Thank you so much for watching this video. We appreciate your continued support and look forward to serving you with more exciting videos in the future. We hope it has been helpful in understanding the world of passive income. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and comment below and turn on your notifications so you never miss a video from Passive Income Journey 777.